And the price of petrol going up means people feel like they have less money generally. And if people feel like they have less money, they're not going to want to invest into crypto.
I'm
surprised
also
by
pretty surprised because when this war originally kicked off, I thought it was going to drag Bitcoin into the depths of hell. So we're going to see some numbers we haven't seen in a long while, but surprisingly, it has been very, very steady.
If you're talking about probability of this being around next cycle, I would give it at best 5%.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip.
In this week's episode, we'll be discussing how the US and Iran conflicts and subsequently the peace talks have brought about a surge in crypto prices. We'll also talk about James Nguyen, one of the famous traders, and how he got wiped out for $100 million. And Donald Trump's World Liberty Fies token seems to be under a lot of controversy as it's been revealed that they've mainly been using World Liberty Fi tokens as collateral. And they recently came out to clear any confusion. And we'll be discussing market performance in 2025 when it relates to profitabilities in tokens, so you know whether it's worth it to invest in certain altcoins or not. We'll be discussing all of that and a lot more. I'm your host, Harris King, and I'm joined once again with my co-hosts, Ricardo and Deji. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on any audio platform, don't forget to leave a review because it helps us create more episodes. If it's your first time listening, we're a group of investors and traders, and we'd like to give our perspective on the markets so that you can have a different perspective and make better choices when trading. So with all that being said, let's start with Trump, Iran, the war, and peace talks. So recently there was a ceasefire announced between the US and Iran. Now, there is a 2-week ceasefire, which has meant that there shouldn't be any missiles between the US and Iran. And it also means that the Strait of Hormuz is open, at least within these 2 weeks. Now, what that means for the broader society is that oil prices may stabilize a bit. It means that, food prices will hopefully stabilize a bit. And it means that, we're not going to experience as much inflation as we would if it remained shut to Western countries. With all of this news, Bitcoin smashed through $70,000 and is holding strong at around $72,000. Now, I want to know what's your perspective on this news? Do you think that this is sustainable, or is just simply reactionary and we're going to go back down if something, breaks the ceasefire?
I mean, I think the politicians are best placed to talk about the politics of it. But I think what this means for us, bro, I don't know, man. I feel like, do you know what this is? This is like meme wars, bro. I've heard that these men are sending each other diss tracks, like AI music diss tracks.
Have you seen? Wait a second. Have you seen the Lego thing?
Nah.
Formula One. You not seen the Lego? You need to go check it out. They basically been making like AI videos with Lego about Trump and the US, and yeah, it's mad. It's mad.
Not even remotely surprised, bro. But yeah, so like all of that, yeah, like these men have oil moving like a meme coin, bro. Like when you really look at the swings that oil has been moving, it's just crazy. The Strait of Hormuz has been opened up, which is good news. But I'm hearing it's $1 million per vehicle to go into the strait and leave the strait, which in reality means the price of oil is going up, the price of petrol is going up. Like if you're in the UK, you notice the price of petrol has been creeping up. I'm not sure what it's like in America, but I know across Europe the price of petrol has gone up, and the price of petrol going up means people feel like they have less money generally. And if people feel like they have less money, they're not going to want to invest into crypto. What I'm surprised by is the amount of like just the strength that Bitcoin's been having. I think last week when we were on the pod, We were on about 68, 66, and it's just kind of blast past 70, and now it's just holding above 70 or 71 this morning. Now we're at 72. And yeah, it just seems like we're in a sustained range between somewhere like 65 and like 73, 74. And it's been like that for a minute. And when I looked at some of my like past historic price values, like a year ago this time, bro, we were at 78k. And so much has happened, but essentially we're back to zero. So like I don't know. I don't want to say is this the bottom, because I feel like the market still has to beat a bit more, but I feel like the market is, even with all of this crazy news going on, the market is holding reasonably steady. Obviously I'm not about to dump all of my peas in that things will go up, but yeah, that's just how I'm seeing the market right now.
No, I mean, I think crypto is definitely benefiting from the latest news that was the Strait of Hormuz is open, and the ceasefire, and I think they'll probably resume talks soon. But I think the ceasefire was only 2 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong. Guys, how long is the ceasefire for? Because I still have great concern.
It's supposed to be for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so 2 weeks, 14 days. I mean, so if nothing gets done in those 14 days, if negotiations don't happen and they actually hash things out long term, I just feel like the market is on the tilt. And you said something very astute, Ricardo, because I was going to say this before even the podcast started. Watch out for the market will react negatively to how high the price of oil goes, because the higher the oil price goes up, the market will feel like, okay, obviously things are obviously escalating, tensions, obviously geopolitical tensions, obviously skyrocketing. That's why the price is going up. So traders will use that as a way to kind of get out of risky assets. Like, obviously, stocks has been getting the most out of this. I think recently there's been obviously an uptick in the ETF, BTC, most called volume, which is great, as you know, and that's reflected in the Bitcoin price action. And the same thing with stocks as well. But at the end of the day, tech stocks are not really blowing off the top because it's only a temporary ceasefire. So I feel like that's kind of reflected across the market, because even this move that's been doing, that BTC is trying to do, I mean, it doesn't look like it's sustainable. So I will feel like if you're gonna tell me this is the short-term bottom for now, I'm willing to hear the argument. But I still think we bleed a little bit more, because I think BTC, especially risky asset, I don't think we're done because we're in a full-blown bear market, and you kind of see how something positive happens. Crypto pumps a little bit, stocks pumps a lot more. So it's like, if you're really in a bull market, like, come on, like, we should be 95k right now. We should be working towards 100k. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's just my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to where we are in the market, what's happening around the world, and the larger geopolitical news, I think this is good news. War's never good in general, and it's definitely not good for business. So yeah, it's a good thing that we have 14 days hopefully of peace. But Iran have the demands, and they're not going to back down, and rightly so. They'll drag into a war that they didn't ask for. But as for the impact on Bitcoin, I'm also like pretty surprised, because when this war originally kicked off, I thought it was gonna drag Bitcoin into the depths of hell. So we're gonna see some numbers we haven't seen in a long while, but surprisingly, it has been very, very steady, and
that's because of smart money, though. That's because of smart money. I think that's one of the benefits that I think we could take away from this cycle. Like, Bitcoin's become more stable-ish. Like, I don't think we'll ever see 20k Bitcoin ever again. You know what I mean? I think that would be huge, in my opinion. But altcoins definitely took beatings. They're still taking a beating right now. Just go look at, what's that thing that people the market was trying to show. There was a token that someone was trying to show recently, the exchanges, and then before you know it, it dumped right back down again. I think it was a popular meme coin. I forgot what it was. Let me find it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You know, altcoins haven't been getting smashed. But on the flip side, you know, they have been more reflective as well on the upside, because I've noticed things like I think Zcash was up 20%. Was it yesterday or so? So you know, there are, if you want the upside, it appears that, you know, altcoins still may be the way to go if you're able to find the right altcoins at the right time. So that is something to consider. I mean, when we're talking about what happens after the 14 days, this doesn't look like long term. This is a war that the US can win. You know, it's and it's, even if they can win, let's say on the battlefield, they're gonna take a lot more damage economically that they don't want to have. So how can you sort of leverage that when we talk about Bitcoin and crypto? You kind of just need to keep ear to the ground. It's actually funny, actually. I remember seeing that someone on Polymarket actually bet that they were going to have like a ceasefire or something. And I can't remember what the odds were, but it was stupidly low. Let's just say that guy made a lot of money. So insider doing insider things. But if you're not an insider like most of us, and if you're not a gambler, then obviously you have to look for other opportunities. And I think those opportunities lie at this point mainly in Bitcoin. And given, you know, the base and the fact that it's been somewhat solid, I think I wouldn't say look for an entry now, but definitely if Bitcoin continues to show strength, then yeah, that might be something to consider. But something that hasn't been showing strength recently is altcoins, because only 6 out of 41 token sales since 2025 are profitable, with most products being down sharply post-launch, according to Messari data. So when I saw this originally, I was like, this is interesting. At first I thought, that's bad. But then I did the maths and I was like, you know what? That's actually not that bad. Because that's more than 10%. So if you're saying over 10% of the tokens launched were profitable, I think that's actually a pretty good number. And if you look at, there's a graphic that Messiah released, and you can have a look at some of the profitable ones. The most profitable being LFMG, and then you got a bunch of others. So yeah, what do you make on this data, and what do you think you can take of it going into, you know, possibly the next bull and the current bear?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's been 66 token launches, or roughly 60. That number feels low, but I guess we're excluding, you know, the plethora of meme coins we saw. So let's just say we're talking about new token projects. 10% is surprisingly high. Completely agree, because, you know, new businesses starting up. Like I think it's like 90% or 95% of all businesses fail. So what we're saying is that this is actually looking better than that statistic. But I think the issue is, of these six tokens that are doing okay, they haven't really seen a bear market yet. Like, the market right now is weak, but it's not like catastrophic. Like, I want it, like, when the market's on the floor, I expect these tokens to be like below the floor. They should be in like the depths of the gutter by that time. And I'm sure we'll see that. But hold tight, Messari, with the data. But yeah, I'd love to understand exactly where these 66 are coming from, because that number feels mad low to me. Even if you're looking at like new crypto projects from 2025, yeah, and maybe it's just like, maybe there's just less teams building now. Maybe teams are like, what's the point of building real infra or real crypto when we can just fire out a meme coin and do the same numbers? I don't know. But yeah, 6% is actually decent. I'm still not getting into any of them.
What was the stat again? Random, what was the stat again?
So, yeah, the stat is 6% of 41 tokens. So not 6%, 6 out of 41 tokens.
A 14% success rate. That's not bad. But then again, when you say you're on profit, I mean, Rick, I hear you comparing it to TradFi. Obviously, TradFi is obviously, you know what I mean? It's a lot more difficult in real life to launch something and then have it sustainable. Not a lot of companies go IPO. I mean, you need just certain levels you need to reach to even before you can. People rather be profitable than, go. Like if you say pick one, people rather be profitable more because you never know what IPO could work, it might flop. But regardless, just see whoever owns the company, when you go IPO, usually you've made it. So that's just one point there. But I feel like we can't compare it to traditional markets, like obviously like stocks market. I think what way to compare this to is back in the golden era of ICOs and IEOs, when like literally everyone wanted a piece of this action, and it's just not there anymore because again, we'll go back to oversaturation of the markets where like you have tools and protocols now you can use to mint coins like that. And then I'm never going to talk about the proliferation of AI platforms and like AI technology. I'm not going to talk about that because we know that has a lot of impact on this as well. But I just feel like unless you're releasing a protocol, unless you're doing something groundbreaking, like obviously you can still raise money in this space. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like, you know what I mean? I'm not too sure about these figures, but I do think compared to what it used to be, it's way lower, like way lower in terms of fundraising, everything, because people feel like a lot of the infrastructure that needs to be built has been built. And it's just somehow just kind of executing and becoming profitable and just kind of expanding the space and onboarding more and more users again, right? More and more penetration around the world. And if you don't have that, you can be the biggest. You can have us. You could spend 10 billion building a protocol, but no one using this or wallet's protocol. Literally, it's useless. Like just ask Asta and how they're flaming out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised because we've been seeing the trend dying down since 2017 because that was when it was rinsed out. There was so many scams during that year. Like that was probably the golden era of group crypto. I think now obviously it's now diminishing returns, slow, steady return. More like much like a traditional market, but just more explosive and obviously easier to transact in and move money around. So yeah, and obviously complicated as hell.
You're always gonna have more unprofitable tokens than profitable ones. To me, that's not the issue when it comes to investing, because not everything can be profitable, and obviously the cream will always rise to the top, as they say. But for me, it's I would be very curious to see how they actually acquired this data, when the cut on and cut off points were for this data. Was it just a calendar year? Was it like 6 months? Like was it like a week? Because if it's like, oh yeah, launch and then take profits, or based on how people took profits, if people take profits within the first 48 hours, technically that's a win. But like long term, if we're thinking of that, then it's obviously not. So yeah, it really depends on how the data has been arranged, and without that information, it makes it a bit more tricky. But Inspire saying that if about 14% of these tokens are profitable, and that becomes a trend that we see moving forward into the next bull market, and people go back to infra and actual real products with real liquidity and they're actually building something interesting, then I think that will be a healthier place for us. And as we move further and further away from the pump fundification of the market.
Are you blaming pump fund, yeah?
Well, they've basically, yeah. But someone else who may be blaming something in the market is James Wynn, as he's been liquidated shorting Bitcoin on Hyperliquid, wiping his account from $100 million down to just $900. Not 900,000, 900, according to Arkham. So that's a generational loss. And every time I see James Wynn's name pop up in the streets, it's always got debt on his name. So I want to know how, number one, we can learn and make sure that we don't fall into the same trap. And number two, how does this guy keep having this money to lose? Like, where's this money coming from?
Wait,
that's my biggest question though. we've already seen this Don got liquidated, and he lost hella P's in the first massive liquidation event. And I don't know what it was, but it was less than 100 mil. I think it was like 75 or something. How does this guy keep losing bands? But forget that, bro. How does this guy keep making P's? Like, how does he keep making these mad? How did he get to the 100 mil?
Is he making P's, bro? Because he seems to be depositing it all the time. When have you ever heard, James Wayne had 200 mil profit in a low? Or so he's always getting liquidated, fam. Like every story I hear about is done.
I first looked at his wallet and I was impressed because there was it was crazy. It was something like $100 to like 50 mil or something over the course of like 6 months. And I looked at it and it was all trades. There was no new deposits. And I was like, yo. And then obviously went back to zero. So now the Don's gone from 100 back to zero. Bro, I mean, this guy's obviously, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to read some of his tweets or something, but it's not making sense. The math's not mathing. It's not. I don't trust.
I have a theory, fam. I have a theory. I think he's one of those whales that invested early in Bitcoin, and he's just fucking around, fam. Because honestly, if you're someone that worked your life, your whole life to work a small bag of Bitcoin, to becoming a big whale in this space where like you have access to over 100 million plus, you're not just gonna piss it away, fam. Like the way there's no risk management with James, fam.
Yeah, basically, I just think James Gunn is a key scammer in this new generation, and I hear what you're saying about like him being somebody that was into Bitcoin super early and are using their P's now. But first of all, why now? Also, bro, have you heard this guy on a stream? This guy is the most up north British guy you can ever meet, bro. Like he just sounds like your regular Don that's like in the pub 8 days in a week, like for hours. He just sounds like that kind of guy.
Bro, these whales here, they're hiding in plain sight, bro. These men are hiding in plain sight, bro. Like literally, you look at one, like one time I met this one Donny, this skinny Chinese Don, fam. Cool Donny, like he knows what he's doing and everything. You wouldn't even know this guy was a whale, fam. Just casually sitting on 500 BTC. And this was back in 2017. You know what I mean? Like you wanted to invest in something, and then dude, like these whales are. I'm not surprised. Like, especially if you didn't sell too early. Like if you're selling around the time where like BTC is 100K plus, you're winning. Even 60, you're winning because you probably bought like $5 or something. I mean, you're probably mining. You're probably one of these geeks I was mining. So yeah, I'm not surprised, man. Like, but I do think eventually I will have to see. You said you seen it in pro, but eventually he gets liquidated, fam. Like. Maybe just to re-strategize and just maybe stick to spot trading. Because I feel like if you see spot, these losses won't be this much, fam. I feel like the losses are so massive because he's basically trading futures.
But you have to see the trades, bro, because the Donny will bet his entire stack that Bitcoin is. He will bet his entire stack 100x leverage on a short, and that's why he can get liquidated so quick and so easy. It's because
that's not winning. That's not a winning way, man. I'm sorry, bro. That's just like you're not gonna win doing that. In my opinion.
Yeah, of course. But he's run up his portfolio multiple tens of millions, nearly 100 million before he lost it, multiple times, more times than we have, bro. So maybe he knows something that we don't, or maybe it's just a zero sub game, and actually this guy was always destined, no matter how much money he made, to give it back to the market, bro.
Because he's got a stack of BTC he's banking on, fam. Because like, bro, he's not depositing this from his bank account, bro. This guy is trading in BTCs, fam. He's setting BTC in and just going around. And one of these days the trade will hit. But I do think a lot of the time, because he's been doxxed, he needs to basically start using a brand new wallet where no one will know what you're doing. You're just an anonymous person now. Because I feel like every time people know it's James, it's like everyone's like, cool, we're going to wash him. You know what I mean? If it's a long, literally, it's like they see him as a target. It's like, I think if I were him, I will start using the on-track wallet. Make sure that doesn't get doxxed. Honestly, that's what I would do.
That guy's like a punching bag, bro. That's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm away. Exactly. So you can't keep losing money. Eventually, you're gonna run out. So yeah.
Last story we have is World Liberty Fi. Apparently, they fell 8% after it was revealed that the team used 5 billion World Liberty Fi tokens as collateral to borrow 75 million in stablecoins. But since then, World Liberty Fire has come out and they said, this is FUD, and we're going to be openly transparent about our market lending position. And then they have like a massive thread where they get into it. I'm just going to straight off the bat say there's something about World Liberty Fire I've always found dodgy, and it's not because, you know, it's Donald Trump's little poster baby, like whatever, whichever one of his kids.
No, isn't this Sam Altman's project?
No, World Liberty Fire is Donald Trump's. It's Trump Media's. It's a Trump Media coin. Remember, it was one of the biggest ICOs of last year.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so now they've come out and they were just like, yeah, no, listen, we're one of the largest suppliers and borrowers of World Liberty Fire markets. And yeah, obviously we need collateral. And yeah, we borrow stable coins. No, we're not nowhere near liquidation. And even if the market moves dramatically, we'd still just supply more collateral. Basically, they just said, we're so rich, it doesn't matter, bro. We're just balling in all our P's. And then they go in and they give us a bunch of stuff. They brought back some tokens. They've given governance to some early token holders. I just think, yeah.
I mean, you lost me. You lost me at Trump being like Trump. This is being Trump's project, fam. Right? You lost me already at that because I already said, like, it's hard for you to follow someone. Like, this is the trap in crypto, yeah, where like you feel like this person is so famous, they're so out there that they couldn't possibly run a public scam, and you'll be surprised when at the end everyone's in it to obviously help themselves. And Donald Trump is definitely a capitalist, and when he's not gonna fund our money out of his own pocket to keep funding the debt that he doesn't need to keep funding. So in my opinion, I mean, I'm looking at the chart right now. Obviously, just anytime you're in doubt, just look at the price action. Just look at the chart. Just look at the chart. Bro, this thing is down 63% from all-time high. Yeah, and it looks like it's in a nosedive. Like, there's no support in sight. You know what I mean? Down 11%, or it's not even 11%, down 12% on its market cap. Like, there's obviously, where there's smoke, there's fire. So even if it's not true, I wouldn't put a past project doing this where like they borrow stablecoin using their own token as a collateral. But I mean, dangerous game, in my opinion. This is dangerous game, fam. You know what I mean? So
I wouldn't touch it. I remember I was so gassed for the sale, the token sale, when it was coming out, and I was gonna get involved, and I go on it, and I'm just like, nah. It seems too markety for a crypto token launch. So I just had to back out, bro.
Wait, didn't Justice Sun invest in this as well? And then
Justice Sun invested in this.
And then he dumped, didn't he? And then they were trying to go after him for dumping. I'm like,
they tried to go after him, but then I think like Trump did something to, like, you can't go back to the US now or some rubbish like that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know about a token. That's all you need to know. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't touch it with a 2-foot pole. I mean, like, if you're talking about probability of this being around next cycle, I would give it at best 5%. At best.
I hear you. I think it will still be here. I think the value would just be so low. It would just be like tailed off.
Never to rise again.
It had all these bold claims, but yeah, in my opinion, it's just not something it's just not something I'd get involved in. Yeah, with that, we're at the end of the episode. So peace.